What would you do? You just graduated high school. You just turned 18 years old. You have everything in front of you. Your whole life is in front of you. And all of a sudden, something so horrific happens. A tragic accident, fatal accident, where you actually died in it. Stay tuned. Listen to the whole episode. This is amazing. So I want to introduce our wonderful guest, Francisco Valentin. So a little bit about Francisco. He's a near-death experiencer, or we refer to it as NDEs. He's a spiritual transformative experiencer, STE. That's something new. I haven't heard of that one. Francisco receives, perceives, and transcribes insights of the higher truth from the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom and publishes them by the given name of transcripts. And you have to go to, it's called the transcript.org is his site. We'll have everything listed below afterwards. He has published 2 books, Near-Death Experiences, A Glimpse of What Lies Ahead. And his recent one is The Pianist, The Salesman Lesson #1, We Are One. Welcome, welcome, Francisco.
Thanks. Welcome. What an honor.
With us. So here we go.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
You feel very honored.
Oh, this is beautiful.
And all things you bring with us to us.
Right. Yes. Thank you for joining us. Oh my gosh. Francesco, I thought that was really interesting. Your event happened in 1979, your car crash.
Yes.
And I thought it was interesting because almost the same thing happened to me, where mine was in 1980, but it wasn't until 2011, like 32 years later, that you started getting these messages from this group. Why do you think it took that long? Because I know the same thing happened to Ingrid, right, Arlene?
Yeah,
she was told it would 22 years.
Be 20 years.
Right. And mine was 15. So what is your perception of why do you think it took so long, for the messages to start coming in?
Yeah, well, let me answer that question and many others by giving you a brief of what happened to me. As you already expounded, everything started one summer day in 1979, when at the young age of barely turning 18, and due to a terrible car accident, I died. If you see the image of the car, you will see that the driver's door ended up by the center console of the car, and I was the driver. When the highway patrol officer saw the image, he said immediately, in my 27 years of experience as a highway patrol sergeant, I've never seen anyone survive that car accident. How did you? And I laughed and I said, I didn't. And after a few laps, he told me that from his experience, that car must have been dragged over 10 feet. So how I made it in one piece is still not physically acceptable by this physical world. Something must have happened that I'm still in one piece. Now, the event when I died, I didn't know that I died. As a matter of fact, the only thing I do remember is holding my steering wheel and feeling the side impact on my left side when now I know that my body detached. But at that time, remember, I was very young. I was innocent. I was naive. I had no idea what just happened. And suddenly I see myself in what I learned to call the void, the black void, because I have no other way of explaining where I was. Now I need to remind everyone that I was born and raised as a Catholic. So the experience that I had was not compatible to what I had learned throughout my lifetime. So I find myself in this void, in the midst of this void. And I suddenly realize when I come back, not at the moment that I was in that particular state of mind, I never recognized myself as Francisco Valentin or ever being a human being. I was just consciousness. In other words, the name Francisco Valentin, the name human, the name physical world, the name everything that you can call, and I can relate to the physical world, was non existent. I was just consciousness. And as consciousness, there was that individuality in me, which I did not recognize as a human being, but that individuality felt alone, felt scared, confused. And at that moment, I realized that a dim light was approaching me. Now, of course, I need to clarify that it is not with the physical eyes. It's what people call the eyes of the soul, which is a representation from the abstract that we can bring in order to explain into words. So as I see that dim light start approaching me, suddenly this light starts swirling around me in a counterclockwise position. And that's when I realized that it was not light, but they were beings of light surrounding me. As they surrounded me, I began to feel this peace and love that is that if I give a definition of that love, I will do it at the service, because it is not a love that can be expressed in the physical world. Even the unconditional love that a mother can have as a child still falls short, because it's conditional, because you're my son. Why don't you love your neighbor's son equally, you know? So when I felt that peace and love, suddenly I began to feel a very powerful presence behind me, approaching me, overcasting everything that surrounded me. And the next thing I know, I am going through a funnel. And as it was getting narrower and narrower, I begin to feel the bodily ache, and the pain became so unbearable that at a given point, I just took my first breath, opened my eyes, and they were removing me from my car. The accident took place at 4 p.m., and I was, based on the testimony of those around the event, I wasn't removed until after 6 p.m. Uh, at
Wow.
least that I know as
That's
a
a long time.
fact.
Wow.
I know that's as a fact, because I remember opening my eyes and it was already getting, it was in Puerto Rico, in the Caribbean island, summer days. So at 6 o'clock, the sun start coming down. So I knew that it was late afternoon. Uh, the the consequences of the car accident, for those interested in knowing, uh, I had, because the impact took place on my left side. I had 3 broken ribs. My pelvic shattered. A metal strip from the door
Mm.
launched into my rib cage, punctured my
Mm.
lung,
Oh.
and because of the position, it severed my spleen, and it launches into my kidney,
Oh,
uh,
my
plus a massive internal bleeding.
God.
There's
Wow.
no way in the world that I would have survived hadn't it been because my heart stopped beating for that many hours. Because my kidney had to be removed because it was totally damaged and unrepaired. And just if you follow the science, a kidney puncture at that level, plus the spleen rupture, would have I would have bled
Let
within a
out.
couple of hours.
Let out.
And I didn't go into surgery until after 9 p.m.
Oh my God. That's unbelievable. That
And you survived that.
that alone is just
That's a miracle. It's a miracle,
Did you,
literally.
Yeah.
but just a quick question, because when I was reading everything about you, and I've researched. Was there a friend in the car with you?
Was a friend in my with a car with me.
Someone in the car with you? A passenger?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Because what I read is
Yes.
he was holding you, and he said that you were dead.
Well, that happened after Wow, 20 years after, more than 20 years after that, uh, when I had, uh, when I became the channeler of the collective forces and I realized what had happened to me, uh, I asked him, actually, it was in a class reunion to tell the story. Since you asked, we were in a class reunion, and I had that bugging into my mind constantly, and I called my friend and I told him, "Listen, I want to know from that car accident, did I die?" And that was the first time that I asked because, as you remember, that I just told you, I was so young, I didn't know that I died. I just knew that I had that experience. And after that, I started searching what the heck happened to me, but it never crossed my mind the fact that I died. When I asked him, did I die? He just looked at me. He stayed quiet. He asked me with his hand to follow him. He took me to the far end of the backyard of the house that we were having the class reunion. It's funny because he light up a cigarette. He took a deep breath and he looked at me square to my eye and he told me, "You were dead. You were dead on top of my life for more than 5 minutes before they took me
Wow.
out of the car." And I asked him, "So why didn't you tell me?" And he said, "How could I? When I was at the hospital and I asked for you," meaning what happened to his body, and when I asked what happened to you, they told me you were alive. So how could I? So remember, we were kids at that time. So if I was alive, how could he said he was dead? No one would believe him. So he just kept it to himself.
Did he
But
have?
he was okay. Yeah. Your friend was okay.
Well, that's another thing because he was the passenger. The moment I received the impact, I got crushed from the left, and because of the inertia, I was crushed by him too. Because as I was dragged, his full body was on top of me. But when the car
Uh-huh.
stopped by inertia, then my body immediately, and that's science, jumped toward his lap. Plus the fact that the impact was so severe that my driver's door ended up by the center console. I have the image of the car inside the car, but I don't show it because it's full of blood, and not everybody wants to see that image. But just have to realize that if the door ended up by the center console, there was no space for me, but to be on top of his lap.
Wow.
So that answered the question if I died or not, uh, because people want to. Uh, then again, this is a testimony, uh, but the testimony is clear by itself. So going back to the story, when I tried to explain what happened to me, I was sanctioned by my family, friends. I mean, everybody, except my mom. My mother did listen to me, and I remember when she said, at a given point, while having a conversation about what happened to me, she claims that when I was at the hospital before going to surgery and she was next to me, the only thing I kept saying was how beautiful it was, and that I didn't want to come back. However, I do not remember that. With that, I want to tell your audience that not because you don't remember doesn't necessarily means that it didn't happen. And I'm going to explain why. As I kept on with my life, I got married, I had children, a spouse, I had a very fulfilling job, and everything was good and dandy, except for one day, or until one day. And the day was July 7, 2011, when a spirit of light manifested through my son's voice. In other words, my 20-year-old son at the time went into a spiritual trance. Never before, not knowing anything about my past,
Mm.
except just little things here and there. He went into a spiritual trance, and a spirit of light manifested through his voice to remind me of an agreement that took place in 1979 in return for my life, which I did not remember. But first, it answered all those questions that I have kept buried deep inside me that I couldn't get an answer from humanity. And before it departed, it granted me what I learned to call higher truth so I can finish my quest and begin my work. That's when I realized, like in a life review. So let me clarify what a life review. People say that a life review is when you die and then you have your life in a movie, like in a movie, and you see the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I didn't have to die for that. What happened was that sparks of memory recall came to me as reminders of why it took so long for me to remember. And I had to be reminded, by the way, because I didn't remember. And that's when those sparks of life reminded me that, yes, indeed, in 1979, I died to ratify that there is life after death. That's when I realized that I died. That's when I asked my friend, did I die? Then that same life review, and let me clarify this also. When you have a live review, you are the observer, not the actor. When you are the actor, you see from your own perspective, you see what's in front of you, you make judgment based on your experience, on your everything, and that's it. When you are the observer, you see the whole picture. So I was seeing the whole picture this time. I saw how I died. Another spark of memory recall reminded me that in the year 2000, my mother died at the hospital, and she had what people call a near death experience and then came back for me to learn that there is divine intervention based on the things that happened later on. Also, another spark of light reminded me that in the year 2002, I had a near death experience myself when I transitioned to the other side and came back to help me understand how perception works and how is it that there's no consensus as to what's on the other side, because some people say I see the a tunnel, I see the light, I saw a pathway, I saw and nobody put it all together into there's no consensus. But I had to go through that experience to remember. It also, that spark of light reminded me that in the year 2010, a prophecy was given to me when I was on a meditation process. It's a funny story, but we're limited of time. When I went into a spiral and when I touched button, an inner voice told me, from now on, you're not gonna learn from outside sources, and everything is gonna be learned from within. Which I didn't know at that time what it meant. But that prophecy came to pass on July 7, 2011, when a spirit of light manifested through my son's voice to remind me
Mhm.
that agreement that took place in 1979. Now, let me tell you the story of how that communication took place. On July 7, 2011, I was spending home alone time with my 20-year-old son at the time, who was on vacation because he was at college, studying music at college. My wife coincidentally was out of town, and my youngest daughter, she was coincidentally uh, studying abroad in one of those exchange programs, summer exchange programs. So so it was me and my son only. So at the time, we had the long date, and after we called it the night, I went to him. Well, good night, my son. I'm gonna go to bed. I love you, and I gave him the regular hug that I do with my loved ones. And that's when my son told me, wait, Dad, I want to see you. I want you to hear a music that I love to hear when I want to meditate. And I
Hmm.
wanted to share with you. I was tired, but something compelled me to say, okay, I'll, I'll, I'll go. But let me go first to the restroom. So I go to the restroom. And when I'm barefooted, and I wanted to add that because he couldn't hear my steps. I was barefooted, and as soon as I get close to the door frame, I was already listening to the music quite loud. And I saw him that he was facing the opposite wall with his laptop open and the music kind of loud, moving his head rhythmically. And he said, "Look, Dad, how beautiful. Listen, how lovely. I can see orbs all around me." And that's when I say, wait a minute. He's not looking at me. He's not facing me. He could not hear me because I was barefooted. What's going on? That's going through my mind. So I approach him quietly, and that's when I realized that he has his eyes closed.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I thought he was making a prank on me. And I said, "What are you saying?" And he said, "They're like orbs all over the place, but we are one." What do you mean we're one? And that's when his voice turned unemotional. And he said, "Because we're one." I asked him, "So what happened? How did it take place?" And he gave me an answer. But I wasn't satisfied with the answer, so I asked the question in another way to receive the same answer. Then I shift the answer in another way to get a different response, and I still getting the same answer. And that's when I realized that I don't think he's making a prank on me, but I kept asking questions. And that's when I start asking those questions that I could never get an answer from humanity. And he kept answering those questions. And I knew that there was something strange, but I did not put the emphasis or the care until I began to realize that I was formulating the question on my head and I was getting the answer simultaneously. And that's when I got so frustrated that I said abruptly, I said, What am I doing here?" And that's when my son stopped moving his head. He stood up, turned towards me. I was standing up all the time, by the way. Opened his eyes, and very energetically he said, "Don't you remember that you and I agreed for you to help me do my job?" Closed
Oh,
his
wow.
eyes, turned around, sat down, began to move his head rhythmically, and I just surrendered.
Wow.
I was speechless. Moving forward, I kept asking a couple of questions. I got a few more answers. And when the spirit departed, I immediately asked my son, "Do you know what just happened?" And he said, "Yes, I do." And then I asked him, then he told me that when I asked him furthermore, he told me that he remembers as he had always have known. And then I asked him, "And do you remember when you stood up and you?" "No, I don't remember that." So imagine what kind of energy that spirit of light must have had to, in that moment, take away my son out of the picture, take a hold of his body, stand up, open his eyes, tell me what he had to tell me, close his eyes, and let my son come back. Being that a message for me only to receive. So imagine how I felt.
And that took 32 years.
Yes.
Francisco, I'm going to interject and ask you a question here. How do you know they're from benevolent beings of light? Call it guides, angelic beings, or from one of the source, or from tricksters?
Because of the context and because of the content. and I will show you at the end of this speaking. Uh, I'll give you one of the messages that I received that will ratify and
Yes.
answer that
I
question.
just want to clarify this because many people, especially now, everything's fast forward and everybody's getting messages, they're writing and things like this. And as we know, I've done the work too, and Joanne, we always put ourselves in the light. And I always say you're receiving messages. They're not going to say you're an idiot or a jerk, or if you're getting that, that's not coming from.
Yeah. It's usually
source.
messages of love.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify that for
Yeah.
everyone, so
Yeah,
they know.
I will answer that question with what I'm going to keep saying moving forward. After that event took place, the following day, I woke up with this urge to write. I am not a writer. I am not a reader. I just read what I'm very interested in. I don't like to write. I have no ability to write. And but I opened my laptop, and as I started putting my fingers on the keyboard, I realized that I was transcribing verbatim, word by word, what transpired the night. Call it automatic writing because I do not have that ability. I don't have that memory recall, nor retention as I did when I transcribed that event. And that was one of the first things that I just got that happened to me. As a matter of fact, that first transcript, it is in my webpage under the transcript. If you go to the transcript tab, that is the first transcript that you're gonna see, and it reads first transcript. It answers all those questions at a level that I could understand at the time. Because remember, I was a Catholic, I was Christian, so and I had very little knowledge of the spirit world or anything that had to do with spirituality in that sense. So the answers were given to me as a very elementary level. However, that very night after I did the first transcription, I began to wake up in the morning between 1 and 3 a.m.
When
to
they come in.
download information that it was so exquisitely, beautifully crafted, yet so dense in its content. Yet I understood it, every single bit of it, like if I would have always known. It is like if I was a 5-year-old and you're giving me an algebraic equation, can give you the answer as fast as how much is 1 plus 1. And that shook me because I don't have that ability. I mean, I am a normal human being with an average memory recall, in case less than average. So, I'm humbly saying that this could in no way can come from me. So, and the information that I was receiving was based on three things: our true nature, our true identity, and the purpose of life.
Francesca, I just want to interject. Do you think that what was your perception of who this collective was? Do you think they were a group of angels, guides, masters?
Thank you for the question, because I did ask that question. When I start channeling, I said, wait a minute, what am I doing here? What is this? Who is this? So I knew from other people that when people channel, they ask for names and they're given the names. For example, different. I don't want to give mention, but those who are in this world, they know that some of them channel Archangel this or Archangel that, and Seth or the White Brotherhood. For example, Edgar Casey, the White Brotherhood, and
Sure.
they give their self name. So I ask, so who are you? Who am I channeling? And the answer that I receive again is those are words that don't come from my language. As a matter of fact, my primary language is Spanish. I'm doing here, and I'm here doing this in English, and most of the transcripts are in English, for one purpose. because if they're given in Spanish, I will never get into the English language. And I ask him, who are you? And the response that I get was, name calling limits the source through reasoning. Rather say that it comes from the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom.
Interesting.
Now, let me explain you what that means. Name calling limits the source. In
Right.
other words, if I say that I am, let's say, Archangel, whatever, I will be limiting myself as the source as to the information that I'm going to give you because of your reasoning, saying, for instance, if I'm an Archangel, whatever, Archangel Michael, let's say, just to give a name, I won't be able to be talking about reincarnation because you're going to question me or any other subject that had nothing to do with religion. So rather say that it comes from the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom. I know it's a long name. I didn't give the name. They did it. I'm just following instructions. So they are the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom. And the next question will be, do you know them? Because they're the collective forces. I know that there's more than one. And I know it, and I know that because of the content of the words and the way they speak through me. One of them, I call them, I lovingly call them, it's not that it had identified itself as such, but I call them the poet. Because some transcript, they come with this beautiful poetry. I'm not calling myself a poet. Neither I claim to be, neither I want to be a poet because I don't know anything about poetry or the laws of poetry or whatever. I just know that it flows with, rhythmical words and things like that. There's another one that I call him the scolder because every time he show up, he starts scolding humanity for, oh my God, he's the scolder, but in a loving way. And then there's another one that I call him the teacher because of the loving way that he or it explains everything in a very, very loving way. I know there are others that come and go, but they vibrate at the same level. When I get the messages, I find myself in this realm where I feel so beautifully comfortable, where I trust the information that comes through because it's very loving. And the main and primary purpose is to help humanity better understand the spirit world, trying to get them out of theological ties so we can have a better understanding and open our minds to a more rational way of thinking. You see,
No,
that one doesn't come from me.
Francisco, I just want to say your journey has been something. You left, and I'm just going to encapsulate very quickly because you left a very successful business in Puerto Rico. You had an insurance business. You walked away from that. You came to the States. You were, of course, had to do your work here to sustain and live. I mean, we all do, right? We're in this realm of our reality here, but yet it wasn't happening for you. And then, I don't know what year you turned around where you delved into this fully, how long that took. But I want to hit on something that I want our viewers and listeners to hear, because I know this for a fact, because I used to have an NDE group. Many people that go through near-death experience and things like that, they come back, they don't want to be here, first of all. And a lot of people, they go through depression. They have a lot of difficulties. Their relationships sever because their partner thinks you're weird. What happened to you? I don't want to hear it, or your family. So, that happens. Things dissolve. And I want you to share with our listeners as far as how you get through that or whatever, because I know something happened for you, and it happened, I believe, in 2013. So that was many years after you're working with all this. I don't want to say you're following the yellow brick road because everything's wonderful. I mean, the same thing happened when I opened my business. And Joanne, you're going through life and you think, hey, I got it. I'm on this. It's wonderful. But then it goes whoop, and
you still have lessons.
you go
Always
into
the lesson.
the darkness, if you want to say.
That
So what would you share with our listeners and viewers as far as how you lift yourself, how you go on and get out of that?
Well,
quickly. If you
let me start with this. I will never forget one live lecture that I did at the very beginning of this. That was after 2011, after the event of July 7, 2011, when I realized that I need to spread the word because that's my job. I'm doing my end of the bargain. And in this live lecture, as I speak with you right now, I can be channeling and you would not even notice. And I will never forget the moment that I was talking to this audience and I said, whoever tells you that the spirit world is an easy way, an easy road is wrong. Why? Because you have to dissolve your old self to become a better self. So, personally speaking, yes, a lot of people go into depression. I didn't because I knew what I had to do. I knew what was going on. I'm a man of logic and common sense, and I knew exactly what I had to go through. Going through the experience was not easy at first. Hadn't it been because it was the information was channeled through my son, my wife would have said that I was crazy. First of all, if it wouldn't have come from my son, I would have discarded immediately. This guy is crazy because I wasn't into that. But because it came from my sons, that's a different story. Yes, it is very difficult because alliances are broken. You, like I said, you need to dissolve your old self. So in other words, you stop hanging out with people that you used to hang up. You cannot, I had to do, still today, I live a double life. There are people who are my friends who do not know what I do because I knew that the friendship will be broken. With family, it was very difficult. My father now is 80 some years old. He doesn't believe me. One of my daughters doesn't don't talk to me anymore because she thinks I'm crazy. My wife, she now believes me because she have seen everything that had happened to me, and chronologically speaking, she knows that those past events did happen. She witnessed some of them, so she cannot deny what just had happened. And it got to the point, and she's also Christian, so I had a very difficult time trying to make her understand the many things I do understand. And yes, it is very, but very difficult. The gain is so huge. I would rather keep going through hell in order to keep advancing the way I am advancing. And I'm not putting myself on top of anyone. I mean, everyone advance at their own level.
Yeah.
And
It's a journey. It's a tough journey. And a lot of us have gone through, I was
Yeah.
almost excommunicated from my Catholic church because they thought a devil was coming through me, not,
Yep.
beings of light.
And
So,
I had when I had my store, I had all born
No.
again thinking going, praise
So-
Jesus. And what are
no,
you?
it's
Oh, is this the
it's a
way?
tough journey.
I said, oh my God, don't judge anything. This is all about love.
Yeah. But it's, it's so easy for people to judge. And you know that, Francisco. It's easy to say, oh, you're crazy. Yeah, this isn't the Catholic way.
It's very difficult, and the sad thing is that it's almost impossible to get through their heads.
Right.
So you got to keep quiet, and time will tell.
And you know who is safe to talk to. There's just an inner knowing. At least that is with me. It's like,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
you
it
don't
is.
need more judging and finger pointing and
Yes,
crazy.
yes.
But I think the whole thing is to awaken people, awaken humanity, to let them know there is another
And that's what we're
dimension.
all, that's what
That's why that's why we do what we do. That's
We're
why
all
you do what you do, Francisco, with your podcast and your talks. We're helping
we're
people
here to
awaken.
lift each other up and see the light in each other and come from
And-
love. And it's all about love. Get out of your head, go into your heart, as I always
Exactly.
I love
Yeah.
the words you used, and I'm just going to paraphrase because you call yourself the custodian, and it's so I'm get chills on this one because when I had my angel shop for 10 years, and I always said to everybody they would come, oh, this is one, and I go, no, I'm just the caretaker.
Right.
This is their place.
We're the vehicle,
that.
we're the
I
vehicle for the
honor that.
messages
And I went through my hell. Joanne went through her hell of our path of what we are guided to do.
right.
The other thing is on the first transcript, and I'm telling our viewers and listeners, go to it, which is your where is it now? I lost it. The transcript.org, and you can read the first one there. Subscribe to Francisco's site there. And you talked on those when you were questioning with your son, the energy that's coming through. Everything that came through one after another, and I'm getting chills on again. It said about balance. It said coming back into balance. And I was chuckling through it because I was guided for the name of this, Beacons of Balance. And I said, because we're in a world of duality and we have to come in the center here to, is where it comes from.
Right. And I think it takes so long sometimes for these angels to come through group, whatever term you want to call those groups coming in, is because you're still going through lessons. No one said just because you have a near death that your life's going to be just peachy keen.
Oh. And when I had my shop again, and I used to have circles every week for the angels, and I used to talk about the, things would come through me, and I was talking about the masks are going to be coming off of people. The masks are.
Yeah.
That was over 20 years ago again.
Right.
And I thought, okay, it's going to be in a year or two. Well, hello, it's now.
Integrity is key.
So it's integrity is that 20-year period.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, as you mentioned briefly, I did have an experience in 2012 with what people call dark entity, and I almost committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
And then after I overcome that, I was taken in 2013 before the source. But because we're limited in time, we probably will have to leave that for another.
It's another show. It's another show.
Yeah, because we're kind of like we have to wrap up. But
this goes fast.
It goes so wonderful. It goes by quickly. So will you come back, Francisco?
Yes, I sure will. If you invited me, I'm
of course.
Ready.
We'll continue on.
But I don't want to leave before I give you one of the messages that the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom have asked me to give at the end of every presentation that I make.
Cool.
And it goes as follows. If we ever understand that we are one infinite mind, endlessly expanding through the physical and spiritual realm, limitless, then we will be able to comprehend that the physical world is only an illusion. And that's my message for today.
Wow, that's profound. We are limitless.
And I leave you with that.
Beautiful.
See, I'll show everybody my hair. Because I call it the wave. This is when you resonate. This is the truth.
Right.
Now, let me explain this a little bit further for your audience. If we ever understand that we are one infinite mind, does not mean that I am one infinite mind and you are one infinite mind and that other is an infinite mind. It means that we are one infinite mind, expanding through the physical and spiritual realm, limitless. Why limitless? Because there's free will. We are the source expressing itself in individuality form. Now, how to get to understand that? That's another story. That's another session.
Right.
And that's exactly what each and every transcript tries to explain with daily livings, experiences, examples. They are a conversation. They are lectures that I get, that I receive, perceive, and transcribe. When I say that I receive, perceive, and transcribe, because I received the abstract. I put it into words, and then once I understand them, then I explained it. That's why you can read some transcript that I said that we, and it's not we as the collective, but we as me, as a human being to you, trying to explain what I receive. But also there are words that come through me as I express them through the transcript. And those are words that, as you read and you said, that's almost impossible. I mean, they cannot come from this person. because my language, as you can see that I'm still struggling with the language. How can I be so profound and use certain words that are not common, and most of them
Right.
at times are all words from the past that they are not used anymore. And
Oh,
how do I know that?
that's wonderful. Thank you for that beautiful
Yes.
you gave to us.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
all of our viewers and listeners, stop watching TV, stop reading the news, whatever. You know what? You should tune in and go to the transcript.org and read and digest. It's from the light, it's from the source, it's from the one, whatever you guys want to call it, doesn't matter.
Right.
Go to that and ingest that and read that. And that's a blessing for you that's coming through. And that'll shift and make a difference in your lives. And as I always tell everybody, I'm pointing to my get out of this, get out of here and go into your heart and be the beautiful beacons of light that you are and shine it out to the world because we need it. Right, Joanne?
Right. You are so much more than you realize. So much more.
No,
You are limitless.
And one little detail that I want to add: everything comes from the inside.
Right.
Yeah, we say
Everything that
Exactly.
we can see, express, even the cosmos, that's the outer layer, the physical world. But the spirit world is not around us. It's
Right.
inside of
inside of
Within.
us.
That's
Everything is
Everything starts inside.
exactly. So we want to
Right.
thank each and every one of you for
Yes. Thank you. Thank
watching,
you.
for
Thank you.
listening.
Thank you.
And please come back. We're here every Wednesday at 11 o'clock with new episodes, wonderful guest speakers. The first Wednesday of each month, I do a prayer meditation for the world. These are all archived. You go Beacons of Balance and find them there.
Right. Make sure to like, share,
Subscribe.
leave comments.
It's
We
the only way
love
we're
to
going to grow this to
communicate.
go. So
Yeah.
thank you
Well,
for
thank you,
blessings to
Francisco.
you and everyone.
Beautiful.
Thank you for you and your audience to give me this opportunity and share time with you in your lives.
Yes, that was beautiful.
Love you. Love you, Joanne.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you,
Bye,
Arlene.
everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.